Guinness. What is it? What is it, Guinness? Go get it. Alright, so my friend Andrew has been kind of encouraging me with the channel to try and produce some content, kind of based on what I actually get myself into. And previously, if you go look through my videos, I was doing some flight training, so I tried to do some airplane videos, and nobody cares. It's plenty of flight videos, nobody cares. And so I was doing some car videos, and that was kind of fun. And again, I'm not that extreme. I put an exhaust on a car and drove around a little bit. Again, nobody cares. It's not really necessarily super engaging content. So, I kind of kept searching for, like, I don't know, a theme, a gimmick, something that would entertain people just for fun, because that's kind of what makes the whole thing fun, is doing something that entertains people. And since I didn't, have any real success with it, I said, maybe this just the YouTube thing. Even though I like video editing, I enjoy doing that. A lot of the stuff that I filmed, I would start doing a project. Isn't this going to be fun? And then, things would just go off the rails on the regular. I'd start doing this. Okay, it's going to be a 45-minute video. It really shouldn't be that long. And screws would go missing. Things would start breaking. I'd start bleeding. Things would go hilariously wrong. And batteries would then go dead on cameras and stuff. And I said, forget it. This is dumb. And so I got this stuff that I've never even produced or put out there. Probably hours and hours of content that I could go through and do stuff, but it never really came up to anything, because I ended up becoming so focused on the project that I didn't even finish the rest of the filming, because batteries are all dead, and it just, like I said, turned into a disaster. So every morning I go to work, every Monday morning I go to work, Andrew asks me, hey man, what'd you get into this weekend? And I would tell him, how I started off doing this, and then this went hilariously wrong, and then this broke, and then I almost flipped this over, and all this craziness happened. And he laughs hysterically. He's like, if you just film these things and show exactly what it is that you're doing, that would probably be engaging content for people just in general, right? Because they can, you're not producing something that comes out 100% perfect all the time. And that's what a lot of these people are producing, right? They show this video and like, look at this is awesome. You don't see all the behind the scenes of them trying to prep everything and getting the things all ready. So it can be kind of discouraging, because you want to produce this video like, look how awesome I am, do these things. But the reality is I've got about maybe 70% of the talent and 100% of the confidence to do these things. So I get myself into situations and I have no idea how I'm going to get myself out and get all these hilarious results. So maybe that's what the direction will go with the channel for now. And I'm just a country person. I live in the middle of the woods here. We've got 20 acres out here, and we can cut down trees and make boards and ride dirt bikes and shoot. We can kind of do whatever we want out here. So I've got a variety of projects and things that I'm interested in, and I'm kind of a nerd. I usually nerd out on a lot of stuff. So I've always had this nickname of Nerdy Nate. Usually when I go on job sites, that's what it ends up happening, is somebody will eventually start calling me Nerdy Nate again. So I thought that maybe I should just make the channel that, Nerdy Nate. And well, actually it's Nerdy Nate the Great. And maybe that'd people have a good laugh about that, because there's no real direction. It's just I'm doing projects and things that amuse me. So the point of this particular video, I'm going to, I don't know, start showing some of the things that I'm working on. I'm going to start editing them in after this. And I'll just start showing the random things that I'm working on and trying to do. And I don't know, maybe you guys can comment and say, hey, we'd like to see more of this or more of that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I don't know, give me some ideas. I've got time. I've got 75% of the skill. I don't necessarily have a whole bunch of money to start throwing at projects and stuff, but there are things that I want to complete, so I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, so we'll start with that. I should probably also add that no one in my family wants to be on camera. So despite being married with kids, the only members of the family that are willing to be on camera are my dogs and the birds. So I will do my best, my absolute best, to edit out every image on this channel that includes any of the family members, because they do not want to be part of this. In some of the videos they have voices, and that was okay. But even still, one of the one of us flying to Cedar Key, where you can hear my wife talking about, is that an airplane on the runway? She's a very nervous flyer, and she saw markings on the runway showing that it's a displaced threshold, and those are the little white arrows. To her, not having any aviation experience at all, to her that looked like an airplane. So as I'm coming in and I'm focusing on trying to make this landing, and she's talking about, is that an airplane on the runway, or is that an airplane? I'm looking around all over the place thinking, is there somebody in the traffic pattern that I didn't see? I was starting to panic, wondering where. I don't see anything. I don't see anything on ADSB. I see nothing at all. And she's like, right there on the runway. I'm like, no, there's no airplane on the runway. And so sometimes when you have somebody in the cockpit trying to help you make decisions based on things that they're seeing, when you have an unskilled person in the cockpit telling you that they're seeing things, but they're not actually seeing things, it can be worse than having nobody there at all. But the point there was, she didn't like the way that I talked to her. She said I was mean. So she'd give me a little bit of a silent treatment there until I apologized for speaking to her a little crass at that particular moment, despite the fact that I'm got my whole family in an airplane and I'm trying to land on this small little runway. I was the bad guy. I was wrong. Sorry. So this is a project I've been working on. We call this area Pup Pond, but normally this is filled with water, but it's been very dry here in the South United States. So normally this is all kinds of filled with water, but this turns into a stream, comes from up here and runs down that general direction. And right now it's obviously, you can see that it's way down, but when this fills back up again, what I've been doing is just putting wood and stuff here and then packing it down with the tractor, putting dirt over it. So you can see how I got all these sticks laid out over here, but I did the same thing over here, and I just continued dumping dirt on it, and I'm trying to make it sturdy enough that we can drive around with the tractor and get over this. So I'm trying to make this a dam and then kind of flood this whole area back there, so we'll have a pond and kind of an aquifer. I thought that would be pretty cool. And eventually I'll build some type of a spillway, whether I just put a drain pipe at a particular height or whatever. So I'm just been pushing all of this all the way back more and more until to see what's going to happen. And some of it's junk, some of it's just wood as I'm cutting trails in and stuff. So that's one project I've been working on. All right, so this is my driveway, right? And it starts way over there. You can't even see it. It's a quarter of a mile long. And the problem is that the way the rain has actually started to kind of erode this is I've got, let me see if I can get a good profile of this. You can actually see how this thing's starting to become kind of uneven. And I wanted to smooth this out. It's getting pretty bad, and it's not really showing on the camera very well, but this area right here, right where all these leaves are, this has become like a channel, and there's about a 6-inch difference, especially right here in this area. There's about a 6-inch difference between here in here, and this is creating a rut. And it follows this whole way up. You can actually see where all the leaves are settling in. And I tried to kind of do some work with this with the tractor bucket, and it's a combination of gravel and some of this really heavy duty clay. For those of you that are familiar with soils in this area, you'll know about where I'm at when you look at this. So I need some type of a grader or box blade, and I had a guy give me a broken box blade, and I guess that's the project we got to worry about there. So if we look at this area over here, this was done by the previous owners of the property, but we've got blueberries in here, but they also had some posts or something set up, and they had grapes. I think they're muscadine, which is like a wild grape. And you can see that there's they had some like edging here and some edging over here, and it used to grow up, but they used just some wire, like communications wire. They strung along from the two posts, and it ended up breaking or whatever. I took some of it off. There's still some other wire that's here, and you can see all these random posts. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there. And so we get a lot of we definitely get a lot of blueberries here, but not necessarily a lot of grapes. And I kind of wanted to clean this whole area up and make it functional, but I can't really figure out the rhyme or reason behind what they were trying to accomplish, because I can see there's this post and then this post, and that makes sense. But then there's that random post in the middle that I don't understand. But then there's this post that probably connected over to that post over there. I don't understand this middle post. And so when I go stand over by this middle post, it went over. Oh, look at that. Okay, I lied. It's right there. So maybe connect this post to this post. But you can see here there's like some vinyl wire there. So I kind of want to clean this whole area up and turn it into back to what they intended. And I don't know if I should get some of these muscadines up, or if I should start planting some new ones. But around it are where all the blueberries are, and we get a lot of blueberries. If you notice, Guinness pretty much goes everywhere with me when I walk around. Right, Guinness? He's an outside dog. He really exists to protect Mandy from other dogs that want to get on the property, that want to get into some fights with her. And he's big and scary and intimidating to them. So ever since we've had him around, we haven't had any more dog attacks, but we've had quite a few dog attacks, and we've had to deal with lots of puncture wounds. And he's going to go into the cow pasture and Mr. Steve. It's not okay. Guinness! Guinness! All right, I guess I got to get my dog now. So this is another problem that we've had right here. I've got, so this is my driveway here. See, he comes back. And I've got some drainage here that goes underneath, and there's some over there as well that actually drain underneath here, kind of like a culvert over into this area. And poor Mr. Steve, he's got some erosion on his fence over there, and he's had a bunch of dirt put in there, but then the rain comes and then washes it down this way, and then it was clogging all my culverts, and that was causing my driveway to erode way down over there. So I've been slowly but surely trying to fix that stuff up, but I've got this drainage that I've cut right here, and this one that I've cut right here, and I've used the dirt to kind of build up a mound here on either side. So now we've got nice drainage here. And what I was actually thinking of doing with this area was trying to put some citrus trees over here, maybe one or two. Maybe I could do like one here, one there, and one over there, maybe, because everything grows really well over here. You got lots of irrigation that happens from all the rain, because this is such a low spot. And then I've got all the stuff that comes off of the cow pasture that from Mr. Steve's. It comes over here and it starts fertilizing all this stuff. So I thought that would be pretty cool. and grow stuff there, but I haven't really gotten that far yet, but it's kind of something I wanted to do. All right, so this is the box blade. I think this is a 6-foot box blade, but where I guess the top part of the hitch here, it got tore up, and so somebody cut it off, and they got this one right here with the idea we'll take that and we'll weld it on there and we'll basically rebuild it, but there's no oh great, now I can't even think of the name of this things. But there's none of them, and I want to call them Scarifiers, right? Is that what they are? Whatever. So I don't even know how they were originally supposed to be set up in this thing, but I don't see any way that there was any pins for this. So my thought was to take a little piece of angle on either side. I could buy new ones, put them in there, and then slide the pins across, and then I'd be good to go, and then I could do everything I needed to do. I've got some steel to actually build stuff and put this in there. It was given to me for free. I've got a welder. I got everything I need in order to make this thing happen, but I was hoping to use this to kind of fix my driveway. So I was going to weld some supports on it. I just haven't gotten to it yet, like everything else around here. And then, big giant log for cutting things off a big giant log, because that's what I do. When I bought the sawmill came with this crate. And the way this whole thing was shaped, there's a top for it too. This is upside down, but there's a top for it too. But the way that it was shaped, I thought, I could probably take this thing and strengthen it, kind of reinforce it a little bit, and then I could turn this thing into a pretty nice little table. Cut a slab or two, put some slabs on top, and bolt them right through, and maybe even build some shelves or something in it. So that's a project. Build a shop table out of it, I guess. And so here's another one. I met a guy local. He had this old, I think it's a 1996 Polaris Express 300. It's a single cylinder, 2-stroke, big bore. I don't know if you consider 300 a big bore, but you just don't hear these things. You don't see these things anymore. And I used to work at a dealership when I was a kid, and I remember these things brand new. So he wanted almost no money for the thing. I almost got it for free. So I said, yeah, let me take that and see what it takes. And I ended up taking the whole top end off of it. You can see there's a crank right there. I got all that stuff stored. I was having weak spark issues. I probably need to put an ignition coil on it and check out all the electronics and stuff and make sure that's good. But it ended up turning into, I know I was going to need more money to do it. So I kind of put it over here, and I haven't touched the thing in a bit. But that's another project. I want to get this thing back going again. I know it's not worth anything. I'm okay with it not being worth anything. I just wanted to get one of these old 2-strokes back going again. It would be fun. By the time I got all the money into it, it's probably going to be it'll be worth what I already have into it. So I wasn't going to do it to make any money on it. I just wanted to be able to play with it. So this is probably one of the more fun ideas I have. This is a spare go-kart I have for a go-kart that I already fixed. I bought this one initially as a parts cart, but it's got a good frame on it. Hi, Guinness. Good boy. It's got a good frame on it, and I've already stripped a bunch of parts off it, but I got crazy thoughts. I thought, what if I bought a motorcycle engine? I have to rebuild that whole rear swing arm. That thing's all rotted, but the axle and stuff's still good. So I thought, what if I bought a motorcycle engine and turn this thing into a crazy cart? And when I say motorcycle engine, first thing I'm thinking of is an inline 4-cylinder, maybe 600 cc's or greater. I might take a twin if I could find like a Ninja 500 or something like that, but I'd really like to have an inline 4-cylinder, build a shifter for it, and make like a crazy shifter cart. But I gotta widen up the front end. I'll probably stiffen up this roll cage because it's a little it looks pretty beefy, but then you look like down here, that's kind of sketchy. So I think I'd pull all this off and end up welding all that stuff on there to try and strengthen this thing up a bit, and probably end up having to cut that rear rack off in order to make room for the the engine and everything, increase the suspension travel. But that's this is maybe one of my more ambitious projects, but I have it. It's here. I like building crazy stuff. Well, now Mandy's come to join us. Right, Mandy? Where's Guinness? There he is. Good boy. Come on. So this is the cart that I already have. That I got all running. I rebuilt some of the stuff in the front end here, and this thing had some electrical problems when I got it from the guy I bought it from. And so what I ended up doing is I took a piece of aluminum here, and I tried to make like NASCAR switches, even though nothing's labeled. I thought it'd be pretty cool to have this mounted overhead instead of like a button or a key or something like that. So you got a kill switch here, and then a spring-loaded start. So I thought that was kind of a neat thing. The dogs love to go for a ride. Where I ride and they follow. But I put this little bin on the back of it to make it like a utility cart so we can drive around. And it's a cool aftermarket setup here. Yes, those are drops of blood. Guinness and Mandy got into it yesterday having a good time, and he somehow tore his ear up a little bit, and then he started shaking all over the place. So I've got this pole barn thing that's almost set up like a garage. So I decided that I was going to cut some wood and try to frame it in a little bit, having really no construction experience at all, just trying to do the best. And you can see there's quite a few mistakes here and hacky ways that I did things just to, because it's already freestanding. I was just trying to get this thing together so I could kind of finish it in there and turn it into a workshop. I was going to continue framing it in like this all the way around, and then turn it into a kind of a functional garage, and then be able to do more projects in it. But there's another project. So out here we've got our back fields, and all this used to be woods, and I cut it all down and cleared it out so that way we could have our ducks and geese and chickens, and I built a pond that's kind of okay. But I've got this. I wanted to build this into a garden, and I don't really know anything about gardening. I did some soil testing, and I had some soil issues, so I fixed the soil issues as best I could. And you can kind of, maybe you can't really see, but that grassy area that's over here, that's where I ended up fixing all the soil, and it didn't end up the way that I wanted to. And now the chickens come over here and do their thing. I got to fix a bunch of stuff in there and continue on trying to clear that whole area out, and I got to till it back up and stuff, and I'm hoping to grow that and make a garden, but that's another project. Also, when I built all of these, I didn't have any gates, so I made all these fence posts myself, and I treated them with some oil, all the parts that are in the ground, and I got to treat the stuff that's above the ground. Hi, Guinness. But just to kind of close this area off, I basically took some of the fence, I just stapled it, and I put a T-post, and I kind of weaved it through and made like this one I didn't weave through, but I basically just made like a little gate, and this T-post is just holding it. But the ones over here, I actually took a T-post and I wove it into the fence itself, and then kind of like created a little gate. Oh my gosh, my geese. So you can see I just use a little bit of strapping to hold it there, and then I got this down here so you can just kind of like pull this thing up and pull the gate, go do what you got to do, and put it down. I want to do an actual gate, but I haven't. But we have ducks and geese, and I took an old pool filter and tried to filter that pond. It doesn't work out that well. I end up draining the thing, but it works as really great fertilizer. So if you irrigate with it, it works really well. So I got this metal building that I moved and put into this location. It's kind of level, but I was using my sawmill to try and kind of frame this part in. So you can see right now I'm doing like a board and batten siding as best I can, which mediocre at best. I kind of bent the top up and made like a drip edge for it, but I got to you got areas like this, you can see that the wood is just getting completely soaked, and that it's just not going to last that long. So I got to make sure that I treat these things properly and get these things so they're not getting all kinds of nasty and wet all the time. With proper drip edge. I'll probably put some flashing or something on that underneath it. And so I put the boards up, it's semi-painted, and I put it up all wet. That's why there's all these gaps and stuff, and I don't necessarily produce the straightest lumber either. And so I just wanted to see what would happen when I put some battens on it. So this is an actual, oh yeah, that's not nailed up. The top isn't nailed on that one. We gotta fix that. So I put some battens there to try and give an idea. So I'm gonna put them all the way across. I just haven't done that yet. But I built some bird cages inside here, and that was kind of the deal. And I just used all the lumber that I produced on the property with the sawmill, and I built these little bird cages. And they just use regular locks. They close, nothing crazy. And this is where we keep the birds at night. And that's a brooder that I built. These I built out of pallet wood just for fun. And this was the first one that I tried to experiment with, was building a little house. And initially we just had a couple birds in it, and obviously they outgrew, and that's why we ended up with these larger bird houses. But that's one of the projects. So the whole house is kind of a fixer-upper, but this is a sink that I was trying to make. So I've got like half a whiskey barrel, and I'm trying to fix a bunch of this stuff. I wanted it to look all rusty and rustic, but the way it was produced, it's supposed to be a planter, so I've got some ideas to try and finish this out, but I needed to get the lid on all nice, and I've kind of got to seal it up somehow so it can't get damaged by the water. But I got this galvanized pan. I let it sit outside, so it got all kinds of yucky and stuff, and the idea is I kind of want it to sit like this, and I have a faucet that stands up tall and dumps into there, but it's inside the house because I didn't want it to get ruined, but I was trying to let everything age out here. But this I'm going to put up against the wall, and this is going to be the sink. And I've got barn wood that I put up inside the bathroom. I'll have to show that another time. Everybody's sleeping, so I'm not going to wake them up by shooting video. Oh, here's another great aspect of the project, right? I got this air conditioner. It's 30 years old. That thing's got to go. I got to replace that big time. But then this electrical panel is a disaster inside, so I got to redo the whole electrical panel. I'm going to get rid of the telephone stuff because none of that stuff even works anymore. But I've got like random sub panels, and I've got this exposed Romex that's out, and all kinds of things that are not good that I have to fix. And I've got double tap breakers inside this panel, so I need to take this, put a sub panel next to it, and really fix it up nice. That's another project. So I've got this propane tank here. There's actually quite a bit of propane still in it. I moved it. I want to run propane to the house, but where this was, it was in the way. So now I've moved it here. I haven't leveled it out or anything, but now I've moved it here. But I would like to clean this thing up so it doesn't look like this rusty disaster, and then run propane over there to the house, and then that way we can have a gas-fired water heater and maybe a gas stove. I'd start with the gas stove at least, but then definitely a gas-fired water heater. But that's another project. So here's another great example of me thinking I know what I'm doing. I got this stump right here, big tall tree. I was worried it was gonna fall down on the house, but if you see the way that I cut it, I did not cut it correctly. And oh kitty. So I cut it this way, cut my little wedge out of it, so that way I could go that way. I had tensions on it that way. Not enough tension because I didn't have the tractor at the time. And instead of cutting it straight this way, I cut it this way. And then the tree started to lean backwards a little bit. So I drove some wedges in it, but instead of it tensioning the tree this way where it was strong to push it over, it ends up side loading it this way and pushing sideways on the grain. So it popped off the stump and then rolled backwards this way and rolled that way. So the whole tree came crashing down here. I had a nice new ladder that I built, and I had right here. It squished my ladder flat. Which was awesome. And the branches ended up hitting the house, smashed the gutter off. And yeah, I just kind of left it that way. Haven't fixed it yet. So then it drips down. And it does this, and now it's eroding underneath here, and you can see that it's getting all this green stuff. So, it's another project. But I do these things because I'm super cool. 100% of the confidence, 70% of the skill. I think I know what I'm doing. And these are the hilarious predicaments that I get myself into. Destroy a $200 ladder, use a $600 saw. I was able to destroy a $200 ladder and probably did $150+ worth of damage to gutters that I now have to fix, that I have not fixed, and it's been 2 years. But that's how Nerdy Nate rolls. We just go for it and see what happens, and then deal with the consequences later.
Last of a dying breed.